JC here for episode 5 of the Life and Times of JC Otero. Still working on my intro. This is just my fifth one, obviously. I'm not doing any editing. This is all just completely raw. But it's currently 1:38 a.m. on November 30th, my 33rd birthday. And as you know, I've set the goal for myself to document 33 episodes of life experiences of my past 33 years as kind of like a project that I've been wanting to do for many years now to kind of create this biography. So first episode was my battle with cancer at 19 years old. It's kind of a downer episode to start with, but as I mentioned previously, and if this is your first time seeing one of my videos, it's just very at the foundation of who I am. Following that, to kind of take it to a more positive note, I talked about, I think, 3 or 4 different birthdays that stood out in the past 32 years, because I haven't celebrated my 33rd yet, which will be my final episode, and I'm going to do that every year, just so I can look back on the memories. Because right now it's kind of foggy with a lot of them. I've had so many. And then another episode after that was contracting the travel bug. I'm a big traveler, and I have the life goal of wanting to visit 100 countries before I pass. And so that episode is dedicated to looking back on my life on where I got the travel bug. So without further ado, that's the summary to date. If you want to see any of the previous episodes, you're more than welcome to. And hopefully there'll be a lot more moving forward with the quicker summary. But anyways, so for this episode, what I wanted to talk about was, I forgot because of that intro that I was kind of just doing on the fly. So I need to think here for a second. All right. Well, I'll just share another thing that's like really defining of who I am as a person and kind of what motivates me in life and what I get a real passion at doing. And with that, sorry, that's my dog acting up a little bit, but is trying to do what I can, to help other people. Um, I think this is kind of like if you looking back on my experiences. I feel like my mom was really instrumental in helping develop that in me as a young child. Was always helping other people, showing me manners, opening doors, and helping people, and always trying to be of assistance. That's one thing I really love about my mom is that she's so like helpful and loving and caring, um, and even though sometimes it can be a little overbearing, a little too much, you got to kind of like regulate it sometimes. But that's something too that as a person, and my uncle's always been very helpful. My brother's extremely caring, loving, helpful person, and uncle and my brother uncle's no longer here, but my brother also does a lot of things to help, especially young kids and youth and exercise as of late. But that's something that's really really dear to my heart, and is just being able to do something when I see it. Looking back, I mentioned that my mom kind of help kind of plant that seed. But I think it really kind of started to blossom a little bit in college, to where I was like a philanthropy chair for my fraternity, and I was tasked at putting together some projects, and we did some with the Susan G. Komen, and we raised I think like $3,000. Like looking back on it, not really something that wasn't really like that big of a deal. Right now, but I think that kind of like led and kind of like helped kind of snowball some other things. Come here. I want my dog to get hurt jumping on the bed. But upon graduating, one of my first job at a school was with Wells Fargo in 2007, which just I'm not going to get into it, but it was at 2007 was the height of the economy at the time, and I was there when it basically crashed, one of the worst financial crises since the Great Depression. But that's for another episode. But during that time when I was working at Wells Fargo, when I was a credit manager doing debt consolidation for subprime customers who had bad credit and debt, large amounts of debt, high interest rates, we had products to refinance their home or auto loans or other lines of credit to help them, consolidate, lower their payments, and pay it off. But after doing it for I don't know, a couple months, 3, 6 months, I can't remember how long, I realized that really what was lacking was financial literacy. And here working with the bank, I was like, why aren't we teaching financial literacy? Isn't it in our best interest to be educating them on how to better manage their money like that? And I have to go too much into detail because there's probably another episode when I talk about just my thoughts on the financial system. And the series is going to eventually evolve into me just sharing my thoughts and documenting my life as it happens in real time. um, so anyways, I was like, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to figure out how I can teach people financial literacy, and who am I going to teach. And so I was like, I could teach after school, I could teach kids maybe through an after school program. So I started doing some research, and I found an organization called Citizen Schools, and I volunteered with them. Tried to volunteer with them first, but instead I got my manager and my assistant manager to go teach the class because I was a new employee. They didn't want me to dedicate that much time out of work to go like once a week or whatever. It wasn't a big deal. But anyways, they ended up doing it that first time, and I wanted to do it myself. So when I got promoted and went to go work on the retail side at the bank that you would normally go into, the Wells Fargo, I took it upon myself. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do this for sure. And so I got my manager's approval to do it because I kind of positioned it in a way where, like, I'm going to get Wells Fargo out there, and maybe we'll open up some savings accounts for these kids and college savings and whatever, and I'll educate their parents and all this like grander stuff, right? Because I was really thinking about how can I make an impact, whereas he was just kind of looking at it for like, how many accounts could we open. So anyways, that was my first time teaching a class of any sort. I had just graduated from school. I had never really like worked with like middle schoolers, and here I was in East Austin, which, if you're not familiar with the area, is a little bit more rougher of an area. But I was at this school. What was it called? Keeling, and sorry, my dog's over there. Like, we have a high bed, and she got hurt last time, so I'm kind of worried about her. But anyways, so I was teaching this class, and it's just so amazing, which will be a separate episode on that specific experience and other ones that I've had. But that was like my first time, like, really like thinking of a way I could make a difference, and then actually like figuring out how to do it. And like ever since then, like I've worked on like bigger and bigger projects to where, like, I've worked with, to date, a nonprofit where we have it's our third annual like startup Chica event, where we teach kids like entrepreneurial skills and pitching in front of judges and stuff like that. And so those will be other episodes, but that's something that's just like really dear to my heart. And I always try and tell people, there's so much need out there in the world that you just need to look around you and open your eyes and see what's out there and what most resonates with you, and just ask yourself, like, what can I do? There's a lot of countless quotes out there that you'll see all over the place that like one of my favorite ones is, by Gandhi, is that, we must be the change that we wish to see. And so whenever you're like complaining about something or seeing some type of travesty in life or something like that, just ask yourself, is like, what can I do about it? Is this something that like really matters to me, and am I able to allocate some time to actually do something about it? And it's crazy because it's kind of like a drug in terms of like, the impact you make. Like, seeing that those kids in that first class I had, when I was working at Wells Fargo and teaching financial literacy, I set up this little bank in there. They're learning everything, and seeing them like light up and really get it. Like, it was just so powerful to know that how I impacted that person's life, and I'll never know like how much, but I know it'll be like for the good. And then just doing that and planting all these seeds and like really like planting seeds of change for a better future. So to kind of just wrap up this video, like, so that's one thing that's just really, really dear to mine is, giving back and making an impact, and, being the change that I wish to see, and whatever that is, right? And I encourage you to do the same thing too. So, look forward to sharing more with you, and, feel free to reach out to me if there's something that you're passionate about and you just want someone to kind of like toss around some ideas and brainstorm, and I'll help you figure out what you can do. It first you got to start small, and then you kind of just build up from there, and it's amazing what one person can do. So I look forward to you making a bigger impact and sharing those stories with you in the future. Thank you.